news happening out of Los Angeles. The FBI now reports that it's disrupted a planned New Year's Eve terror attack in Los Angeles. 4 suspects in custody. The FBI identifying them as members of a pro-Palestine extremist group. They're suspected of planning coordinated IED attacks targeting 5 different locations in Los Angeles. But based on the reporting now, that plot has been foiled. We will wait for more out of L.A. or out of Washington, D.C. for what the FBI has to say about that.
Yeah, you probably should have waited a little bit longer because you got a lot of the facts wrong on that one there, bud. And whoever ended up making this weird post to go out and claim that it was Muslims that were trying to do it, wrong. No, it looks like there was a training involved in that one. But the good news is it is a terrorist attack, and they did actually get it stopped. And there's video evidence and all sorts of stuff. I've got the criminal complaint and all that stuff for you guys coming up here in just a hot second. And then immediately following that, we're going to take a look at Brown University and what's going on, because the Bureau ended up releasing some more information on the suspect. To be quite frank, it looks absolutely nothing like the guy that they ended up having in custody. Excuse me. He's a person of interest that they have going on over there. Ilhan Omar still in hot water. That and a heck of a lot more. We're going to go check out Bondi Beach. I appreciate you guys updating me about Bondi Beach, but immediately we're going to start going over to LA where that terror plot did take place, because that is a huge freaking deal. Army Lurse, what's up, brother, man? You guys are in the freaking chat tonight, man. Look at y'all coming in here strong. I think I just need to start coming back on this time again. I wanted to kind of give it a try and see what ended up happening here. We got Ben the, I can't even read your, I don't know. Ben the Done Thought. Just head exploding, right? Yeah, nope. It wasn't the Muslims this time. Rest Enter, true supporter in the house. Hell yeah, brother. Army Lurse, gifting out 5 Speak the Truth memberships. And we are rolling. Give it a listen.
Valuable assistance over the weekend with a very complex and coordinated search warrants that were done. The charges we are announcing today stem from the defendants and their co-conspirators' detailed, coordinated plot to bomb multiple U.S. companies on New Year's Eve. Thankfully, that plot has now been foiled thanks to the hard work of the FBI and the Department of Justice. This investigation was initiated in part due to the September 2025 executive order signed by President Trump to root out left-wing domestic terror organizations in our country, such as Antifa and other radical groups like the Turtle Island Liberation Front. As the president made clear, recent attacks across the country have highlighted the grave threats posed by these far-left domestic terror groups. These threats are sophisticated, organized campaigns of targeted intimidation, radicalization, threats, and violence designed to silence opposing speech, limit political activity, and direct policy outcomes and prevent the proper functioning of a democratic society.
All right. Who the heck is the Turtle Island Liberation Front? Well, Turtle Island is actually, from what I can read on it, is Native American for, and I mean Native American, I mean like American Indian, like feather, not push button, those guys. All right. Native American. That is like Native American speak for North America. So Turtle Island Liberation Front, you can already see that we're pushing far left into liberal territory here with that name within itself, because, you know, you got to liberate the same country that you're in, right? Like, you're not going to give them land back. Fun Bo coming in, gifting out $2. Appreciate you, brother. And as I keep going, man, you guys are just crushing it tonight. W Don't Know gifting out 5 Speak the Truth memberships. Viking becoming a true supporter. It's like they turn their notifications back on for you guys, man. It's freaking wild.
In direct response to the president's order, the Attorney General issued a memo to our offices implementing and mobilizing federal law enforcement to prioritize and counter domestic terrorism and political violence investigations. As a result of those directives, we built this case. Both my office and the FBI have invested substantial resources into investigating and charging these organizations. And if anyone does not believe that members of these groups are organized, sophisticated, and extremely violent, let me tell you about the plot in this case.
Organized, sophisticated, and extremely violent. I want you to remember those words, because I'm about to rip that statement apart. And I'm not saying that I'm standing up for these pieces of crap, because they did build planned on building 5 different devices and on and on and on. But we're going to talk about the organization and sophistication, particularly in their IED making skills here in just a sec.
The four defendants are Audrey Carroll, 30 years old. The pictures, I think we have them somewhere. We'll put them up here. Audrey Carroll, 30 years old. Zachary Aaron Page, 32. Dante Gaffield, 24. And Tina Lay, 41. Each from the Los Angeles area. Each is charged with conspiracy and possession of an unregistered destructive device in violation of Title 26, United States Code Section 5861D. We intend to file additional charges in the coming weeks as we finish reviewing the evidence. The defendants are all radical anti-government members of the Turtle Island Liberation Front, which according to their own social media is an anti-capitalist, anti-government movement that calls for their associates to rise up and fight back against capitalism. One of the leaders of the organization, defendant Audrey Carroll.
You can already tell where this is going when he says rise up and fight back against capitalism.
Helped organize an even more radical faction of the group called the Order of the Black Lotus.
The Order of the Black Lotus, ladies and gentlemen, and you're about to hear about it. This is like straight out of a fan base. So first, let's go over and just check out the Turtle Island Liberation Front of LA and their recent post, along with their 964 followers and all other crap. This is the type of crap and propaganda. Oh, you don't want to open? You guys used to want to do that, but look at the type of crap that's up on the screen here. It's not punk show fundraiser, $25 business logos on flyers. I mean, the whole thing is just a joke, and clearly you see Palestinian garbage up here. Retards in berets. I mean, it's just freaking ridiculous. I hate every single one of them that's out there. But nonetheless, they did end up like stalking these people and getting them on video. And you actually see them like flying over top and going to set these things up. He's also got some other stuff to say here.
And this is, the video is, do you want to describe the video?
Yeah, I'll describe the video. So, as I mentioned in my talking points, on December 12th, a group of individuals, again, members of this anti-government group, traveled out to the desert to test their explosive devices. They had precursor chemicals there, and they were going to create these bombs in the desert. What they are starting to do is put their chemicals and wares and the components out on the table there. This footage that you're watching is from our surveillance plane, and then what happened after this is the Los Angeles FBI SWAT team, along with the FBI's hostage rescue team, moved in and arrested all four subjects without incident.
So now we'll take some questions.
Okay, so all of the precursors, they're going to build bombs, and it's very sophisticated and all of this other stuff that's going into it. And I'm telling you right now, this is Libtard Alley 101. Did they plan on building bombs? Yes, they did. Do I think they would have been viable devices after reading the criminal complaint? 10 to 20% probability that they might have actually been able to initiate the main charge. On top of that, if the main charge was initiated, would it have actually deflagrated? Not detonated, because they were using black powder. Would it have actually deflagrated? Well, I'm about to go through and show you the criminal complaint on this thing, and I'm telling you right now, are they terrorists? Yes. Did they want to blow things up? Yes. Are they absolutely libtards? Yeah. And you're going to understand why here in just a sec when I show you the suspects' photos.
You mentioned these 5 companies. Can you get more specific about that? Yeah, we're not naming the victim companies, but I'll generally describe them as logistics centers. You can think of like Amazon-type logistics centers, but we're not naming the specific companies at this time.
Can you elaborate on the locations?
There were at least 5 locations that they intended to target within Orange County and Los Angeles County. Again, we're not giving out the specific sites, but they were willing and wanting to do more if they could recruit more members to their radical efforts there.
You mentioned the arrest in New Orleans. Do you think that there are other people involved? Or you mentioned some other locations?
There are definitely more members to this group. As far as who was specifically involved in this New Year's Eve terror plot, we believe we've arrested all the members who were specifically involved in that particular plot. We did execute search warrants to people who are also part of this group. As we review that evidence, if we determine that there are any other individuals who knew about this or provided any assistance, we will obviously be charging them as well.
So now we got to get into it. Now we got to get into the weeds. I honestly don't think that many people wanted to like join these morons along their freaking path. Let's start here. Let's take a look at Zachary Page, aka AK Ash Kerrigan, C. Toulouth's daughter. That's a trans dude. If you guys didn't know, like right up over here in the middle, this definitely appears to be a tranny. I just want to throw that out there. Then we have this one over here who drinks milkshakes and not protein shakes on the far left. And then we have Tina Chen Ting Tong Le Akai Kickware. And then, of course, we have Dante, otherwise known as Nomad, up over there. These were their amazing people that were going to end up carrying out this massive terror plot. And I'm going to end up getting into this here in just a second. Fox McCloud says, but if they would have kept trying, they would probably eventually could have. I mean, yeah. Okay, so there's that. I mean, they have a lot of... It's YouTube. I can't teach you how to make bombs on YouTube. It's just a fact. But I will tell you, when you're contemplating whether or not you should use a shoelace as a fuse to your black powder pipe bomb shoved in PVC pipe, maybe you shouldn't be making pipe bombs. Just saying, you know? And is that substantial anywhere? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yep. And the craziest part about this is, could they have been viable devices? Yes. They could have, theoretically speaking, built viable devices. Intel agencies working overtime this week. Well, I mean, I congratulate them on this. Like, this is great. But I will tell you, and I will substantiate it after reading and showing you guys the different portions in this affidavit, in this criminal complaint here. After reading through it and listening to it, like, and actually like fully trying to take this in, I think what it would end up happening. So their plan was to put these devices together, and then to take them over to these two different businesses. So they had 5 intended targets at these two different businesses, and their intent was to basically make black powder pipe bombs, from what I can tell. Now, if they had other precursor chemicals, they sure as hell weren't listed in the criminal complaint. And from what I know of my experience, that the precursors that they have listed are only good for black powder. Right. And so it's California. Maybe you can't buy black powder. I always wonder why people make black powder. Like, go buy Pyrodex, for crying out loud. It's going to do better than whatever the hell you can mix up. I promise you, if this is your first time. But let's take a look. We're going to skip over that's all the talking. And we'll just come right down over here to the bottom first. And we're going to take a look at their lab here, of what they had set up out over the table. Yeah, hey, bear with me, folks. We got activated charcoal, free Palestine stickers, what looks and appears to be tarot cards. Surprisingly enough, they did bring a lemon out there, which made me scratch my head. They do have gasoline, gloves. You can see different sections of the PVC pipe that they have. All that crap that's out there. Now, they do have a burner out there, but I'm not sure if they're doing with it what I thought they would be doing, because I don't see that stuff out there. And that's all I'm going to tell you about that. Other than that, looking at this, it certainly appears as if they're making black powder pipe bombs, and no kidding that they ended up having shoelaces that they're contemplating to at one point in time. Wow, they're not too bright, are they? Right. So this is always fun when you actually know what you're looking at. So the glass bottles and things that they have allegedly were for them to make Molotov cocktails. And as you read through this criminal complaint, one, they're retards. The lady that was leading this entire thing, she hand wrote down all of the instructions, right? And she had this little booklet where she hand wrote everything down. And she tried recruiting people out of their organization. So there's leaks, right? Which no wonder the Bureau was able to have a confidential human source within this group, right? That somebody that was like, that ain't right, and I'm going to go narc on you. So they ended up having a confidential human source, which can only lead me to believe that this idiot probably blasted it out on Twitter like, who wants to build bombs with me? But anyways, they had numerous meetings. For some reason, they thought it would take them well over a month to plan this wannabe jihadist attack. that they were setting up and even expressed it. They didn't have enough good time, to really get all of this crap done. But yeah, plastic pipes and everything else. And I'll tell you, like, one of my biggest problems with them using plastic pipes on top of everything else. Like maybe they're going to make some really big ones, but that's not exactly enough charcoal. I don't even want to go there right now. It's not exactly enough charcoal in order to make a hell of a lot of bombs, in order to, like, black powder, everything plastic. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. For those of you that don't know, when you end up mixing black powder, it's not a high grade explosive. It falls in the low grade explosive range. And what ends up happening is it burns at a really quick rate, which is known as deflagrating. And deflagration, is essentially what's taking place inside of a rifle when it shoots, right? The gunpowder's burning and it's deflagrating under pressure and it's pushing that projectile out the barrel. Now, it doesn't all go off at the same time. If like a detonation is an instantaneous change from a solid to a gas state, a deflagration is a really rapid burn, like a very rapid burn rate. Okay. And so you've got to get the mixtures of all of the other chemicals and stuff to be pretty much spot on if you want it to go off. Ignition point is key for black powder. Thank you. So, but here's the thing. It's not just that. It's that, you have this fuse going into it that's going like straight down from the top inside of PVC pipes. And the only thing that I can think is they probably intend on putting like a plastic cap on it and being like, yay, we got a bomb. But what you don't understand with the plastic pipes there is you're gluing the lid on 99% of the time. I don't know, maybe they try to reinforce it with duct tape. I don't know. But basically the weak point's the glue. And so when that powder starts to burn, like let's say their shoelace ended up setting it off, and it wasn't just a shoelace they had. They also had, according to this affidavit, they also ended up finding some twine, which good on them. But it wasn't just the shoelace that they had twine. But what'll end up happening is the pressure starts to build at the top because you're burning from the top down, because it doesn't detonate, it deflagrates, right? If you're able to get a good full ignition on everything, it's going to deflagrate going across. And it's just, if it does, you're essentially going to break the seal and it's just going to shoot the lid straight into the dang sky. And then all of the pressure is just going right out. So you're just going to start a fire maybe, if you're lucky. If you did it right, you're going to start a fire, basically. But there is a potential for them to be able to have a viable device, like as we look at this. Now, the other thing, I ended up telling you that the ringleader of this particular organization decided it would be a good idea. I gotta get their hero shots up here. Hold on. The ringleader of this organization decided it was a good idea to scratch everything down on like a piece of paper and handwrite everything down. Ringleader also thought it would be a good idea to keep one copy and then go into a, photocopy shop and just frickin', slap photocopies and hand these books out to everybody on the planet. That idiot Nomad said that he could recruit more people into joining on this. So I want you to picture Chunky Checkers on the far left, transgender person right there, second from the left. And then like crazy Nomad guy that looks like he wants to be a pipe hitter but can't. And then crazy Tina Chang, Ching Chong, right? Like jumping in there after all of this. At the end of the day, the ringleader of this was that fat liberal white chick on the far left that had wrote all of the instructions down. And these people to her right on your screen were the ones that thought it would be a good idea to follow this individual into so-called battle with the crap. And what ended up happening was they ended up having surveillance overhead, all of this other crap. Like this thing had a 0.0% chance of being launched off at all. Like even if they were able to infill and set the charges and all of that other crap, they were literally determining whether or not they could use cigarettes in order to set it off. Now, there is a way to use, all right, black powder to make time fuse, right? And I'm sure you can go Google it and figure it out on your own. I'm not going to let you know. But they also talked about going in. Now, if that was their plan, because they had the twine, which is where my mind goes as a, conservative 18 Chuck, right? I go, okay, cool. But what they didn't do is allow enough time. Like the whole thing just says that they're trying to light like shoestrings on fire and frickin' and twine on fire in order to make it happen. And they actually had contemplated about taking cigarettes and using the cigarettes in order to try to light everything off. Like it just seemed like frickin' retarded. Did they have a plan? Did they intend on doing these things? Yeah. They most certainly did. But in my opinion, these idiots are about to go to jail for a very long period of time for a very poorly executed plan that they were going to do. And this is and I don't want to call it Trantifa because they had like one tranny in there, but here's the other thing. They did end up going inside of their houses, and I can't remember if I think it's in this complaint. They eventually ended up like going in and raiding their houses, and ended up coming across some stuff. Here we go. And this is, in my opinion, where you end up like very being able to tie this into the Palestinian cult and all that crap that's out there, where you have these red triangles that are here and over here. Those red triangles, obviously, well, maybe not obvious for a lot of people, but they're made famous by like the stupid little Hamas videos where they go and they put them down. But the part that everybody should pay attention to is it literally says death to ICE on that sign. And then that blue sticky note might be kind of hard for you guys to see. It says to our comrade with a heart on it. That's what we got. And then you've got other things about the struggle and all that other crap. I mean, the whole thing just screams amateur hour as far as I'm concerned. And so for that agent to stand up there and scream that it's very sophisticated and on and on and on, like, I get it, man. This probably isn't the case that I would have taken and been like, massive press conference, go. And I think the reason that they did do that and say massive press conference, go, like, don't get me wrong, like, these people need to go to jail, right? They do. But this isn't like a well-trained, sophisticated terrorist cell operating here. It is a domestic terrorist cell, in my opinion, right? But it is not a well-sophisticated, well-oiled machine that knows exactly what they're doing. That is a huge threat to the United States of America. Like, if it goes ignored, they'd probably get plenty of chances to figure out their explosives and try to make this thing work. But I'm telling you, man, this wasn't it. How big is this PDF? I forget, dude. It's like 40 something or 20 something pages, and I read every single word of it this afternoon. Bro, like, if I was the defense attorney, I would immediately go to the criminal complaint, to the viable device portion, and would have died laughing. I'm just saying, like, that's what I would do. Funbo coming in, giving out 5 Speak the Truth memberships. Thank you very much, sir. See a lot of you guys laughing in the comment section, 100%. More people need Jesus. Yep, I'm there with you, man. But like, Trantifa ain't it, man. Like, that ain't it. Funbo gifted out an additional rando Speak the Truth membership. Intel agencies working overtime this week, according to Andreas Northam. Yes, sir, they are 100%. I would agree with that statement, and that is where my chat ends. YouTube did something weird with the backside, so your guys' chats and everything, like they come through really weird, and I'm trying to adjust to it, but they updated their crap, and I don't like it. I like the old system that they had better, and I wish that they would end up bringing it back. People are celebrating Candace Owens because of this, saying that they have been signaling that a 9/11 style attack is coming the second week of December. Save this tweet, it will age well. And everybody's out there ranting and raging, saying, oh my God, Candace Owens called it. She nailed it. I don't know if Candace Owens followers know what actually occurred on 9/11, to be perfectly honest with you. I really don't. Because what they're referencing is what took place at Brown University. And they're trying to say that between Brown University and what took place over inside Sydney is that big old terror attack, the 9/11 style thing. And she predicted it, so she's right. Not just about this, but about Charlie Kirk, which, by the way, she's not. Jude Chase says Boy Scouts can make better firecrackers. I agree. And maybe they had some other plan that I didn't see that was in there, but I'm telling you, man, it wasn't it, man. It absolutely wasn't it. I want to bring you guys. Stop. I want to bring you guys up to par, though, here. This is the AAG. Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights underneath Pam Bondi, Miss Dillon. And she got interviewed by Frontlines, and she brought up something that I think is very important, that is going to be very groundbreaking when it actually comes out. And it's not getting a lot of attention. The reason I think it's groundbreaking is because, number one, in my opinion, you probably have some Antifa crap going on tied into that. Jack Ray, appreciate you coming in, gifting out those 5 memberships. You undoubtedly had some Antifa crap that was going on there. But they are opening the investigation. Like, this is happening. They are investigating the Portland Police Department. Uh-oh.
and you have a right to a certain amount of protection. They could stand there and watch you be beaten, and for the most part, there's not much a citizen can do about that. But if it appears that they have a pattern and practice of doing that, passive policing, with a prohibited purpose, for example, if they stood there and watched black people get assaulted but not white people, that would be illegal. If they appear to be engaging in First Amendment retaliation on the basis of the viewpoint of the person who's being assaulted and they differentially police that way, that could be illegal. And so that's what we're investigating. And so it could be as simple as just a First Amendment violation or retaliation case that doesn't have to do with patterns of policing, and that may or may not be something we can do something about. So we saw Nick Sorter get sort of attacked and then also arrested in Portland. Nick has announced a $10 million private lawsuit, so he's pursuing that privately for infringement of his civil rights, and we're just continuing to gather evidence. Now, I will tell you that the Portland Police Department is not nuts about our investigation. They're not particularly cooperative. I can't reveal any details of the investigation, but we already had a consent decree at the United States Department of Justice against the Portland PD from many years ago, and that's a still open case, and so it's under a federal court's jurisdiction. So what we did is we opened our investigation in the context of that case because it is about patterns and practices of policing. And instead of producing documents that they're required to produce, they're trying to treat it as a Public Records Act request and charge me for the documents. I mean, that's the nerve they have, is like, while they're under a federal consent decree, to try to charge the federal government to get records of their policing statistics, which is nuts and really confrontational. And so if they want a confrontation, they're going to get one, and we will not rest until we've gotten to the bottom of this.
We appreciate the fight that you're putting up with this, especially as a
They can't be that stupid. Like they basically continued on like this investigation due to another case that they have open against them. And then when they asked and they subpoenaed that, like when they're saying, give us your stuff, the Portland Police Department literally tried charging them for the documents themselves in this investigation from the federal government. Like, oh my God, man. Like, they are so screwed, it's not even funny. Fox McCloud says, I'm going to make a prediction in the future. Something bad will happen. And then when something bad happens, you can look back at this super chat. Thanks, Fox McCloud. I got a feeling something bad's going to happen too. Roughneck, 723, jumping in, becoming a Speak the Truth supporter. Love you, brother. Thank you very much. Thank you. I always appreciate the support, man. Oh, my goodness. And as all of this is going on, House Democrats did introduce a resolution to force the U.S. military to stand down against designated terrorist organizations. That happened. That happened. Yep, that certainly happened. And not only were they dumb enough to do that, and I think maybe this is a good time to bring this in. Hold on, now that I bring it up. Yep, yeah. So if it wasn't clear enough what was going on with the investigation into Senator Kelly by the DOD, this ought to really clarify it. This is Laura Loomer over at the Pentagon.
Mark Kelly, and whether or not he's going to be held accountable for, encouraging members of the armed services to disobey the commander in chief?
Sure. So the actual inquiry has been referred to the Navy. I'm not a part of it, and so they are going through it to see what options that they're going to present. There's a range of options here. I mean, everybody's focusing on the possibility of a court-martial, but there's a whole bunch of things that they can do. They could do administrative remedies. They could give him a letter of reprimand. They could actually take one of his ranks away in retirement and lower his pension. And ultimately, what they're going to do is they're going to look at the feasibility of these different things. And so, if you look at what he did, and they try to say, if you look at this video, all we did was state the law. Okay, there are two problems with that. One, they misstated the law. The law is not that you have a duty to disobey unlawful orders, manifestly unlawful orders, orders that are clearly illegal to everybody who hears them. So they lowered the standard first. Two, they didn't define what the unlawful orders they were talking about were. But if you instead take that video in the context of all of the other rhetoric, where they're talking about National Guard deployments are unlawful, Venezuelan boat strikes are unlawful, all of the other rhetoric, and you take those two together, then you say, okay, now what they're asking people to do is to not go to the National Guard deployments, to not execute Venezuelan boat strike orders. And that's the problem right there, is that those orders are lawful. Now, they can argue and they can say, oh, we think that order is unlawful. And if you have a dispute where some people think it's lawful, some people think it's unlawful, that means it's not manifestly unlawful. You know, deploy to Chicago with the National Guard, presumed lawful. Shoot that protester in the head, manifestly unlawful. Don't do that. And that's really the difference, is that they've put it in a way that is intended to confuse and is intended to, we believe, cause dissension within the ranks. And so that's something that the Navy is looking at.
So could he
How about them apples? And allegedly, they ended up advancing it to the next step. That's what we have all been whining and complaining about. All right, when we're like, no, this is wrong. They shouldn't have said what they did. They shouldn't have done what they did. They purposely sowed confusion in there. But the interesting part was what the spokesperson ended up saying was that, you know, they might not necessarily throw him in jail. They might just rule, you know what, we're just going to go ahead and restrict his pay. We're just going to go ahead and demote him in rank. We're just going to go ahead, you know, like there's all sorts of different crap they can do. At one point, what they say, a Gomar, maybe like give him a letter of reprimand, dude, whatever, man. You're not really like taking care of the issue there. And I think it's going to end up pissing off the American people. But, yep, FBI ended up doing their job over at Brown University. They were just randomly roaming around today, and I don't even bother showing you the pictures. For those of you guys that are military veterans, hands across America, that's what they were doing over outside Brown University. But they've identified this gentleman as a person of interest. Let me know if you guys, let me know if you guys see anything interesting here about how he's walking and what he's doing. Like, he's clearly on the outside, and I don't even think these are like university security cams. But yeah. To me, this definitely has like, I don't know, some weird, I don't want to say like Middle Eastern type vibes, is kind of what I picked up on, and or like Russian-ish vibes. Like this guy has like Russian vibes to me. There's a lot of people that are screaming or saying, you know, that he said Allah Akbar when he had gone into that location. But yeah, they've got other videos of this guy, and they said that this was, you know, a couple hours beforehand, is when they ended up like throwing all this stuff out there. So he was roaming around just being a freaking weirdo, and they're looking for him. I don't know if they, you know, brought him over to other people and said, this is the guy, you know, does this look like him? But this is the one they're looking for. So if you have information on him, they have a whole freaking, you know, tip line and stuff like that set up to like go over and find him. In case you're curious, but they're getting hammered in the freaking media, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely hammered in the media.
Do you have reason to believe that this person is no longer in the community? Because can you continue to try to reassure the public that they are safe, but you also just said that this person you believe is armed and dangerous, so how can both be true?
Well, yeah, right, and that's something that's unknown, but like the mayor stated, I'll tell you that we have enhanced enforcement in that area. We have Steph stated earlier, we have a lot of officers in the area, so in that sense, it's going to be safe. But however, as well, I just want to remind the community that our priority in law enforcement and in the city is to keep our constituents safe, keep them informed.
Troy reviews, man.
And to keep them committed, to understand that we're a professional, we're dedicated, we're going to put somebody in handcuffs, and we're going to continue to do this job. So I want to...
Reason to believe that they are no longer in this community?
That's something that we're continuing to investigate.
Yeah, they're continuing to investigate. And yesterday they ended up being able to cough up like an entire freaking video. Now, this is why the entire active shooter thing, in my opinion, goes right out the window. We have the conservative female, and I'll have her picture up on the screen here in just a minute, that ended up getting shot in the face, allegedly, what we're hearing. It doesn't sound like he was trying to commit like a mass murder. It sounds like he was particularly going after these this conservative girl. Here's why.
We were hanging out in a classroom studying, and then we just heard like 5 shots ring out, and we didn't really know what it was at first. And then some kids, we like got out of our seats when we heard a stampede run by, and then some kids went to check the hallway and no one was there. So we ran outside, and then a kid who had also checked, he went the other way. He came out, he said he saw someone lying on the floor. So at that point, we just looked at each other and just ran as fast as we could.
In that moment where you...
Ooh, that's interesting. So we said, Matt, you know how Putin does that walk with his right hand FSB thing? Yeah, Shooter did that. Now you're going to make me go back and look. But here's the thing, right? Saying that he just heard 5 shots ring out, that's pretty specific. And that's not something you hear in active shooter incidents or anything like that at all. 5 shots. He said 5 shots. Very specific. And that people went out there. There's no follow-on shots. There's nothing else. 5 shots.
Heard the gunfire. What did you think it was?
I thought we were in an engineering building, so I thought something fell or something. I didn't think it was gunfire. We were hanging out in a...
Interesting. 5 shots. Now, that's interesting because this morning I ended up playing this interview for you guys. Let me get this up. This guy said, I don't even have to tell you.
Joseph Aduro was leading an economic studies session with around 60 other students when he says a masked man entered the lecture hall armed with a large gun.
He entered the room and you could just see the panic in all the students' eyes. I was standing in the front, so as soon as he walked in, he immediately saw me and I immediately saw him. And then I look to my right and I see a bunch of students running down the stairs, running out the door, jumping on the ground, just whatever it takes to stay alive.
When you made eye contact with him, what did your mind tell you in terms of what was happening in that moment?
When I saw him, I saw a gun. The gun was so big and long that I genuinely thought, like, okay, this is the end of the road for me.
How soon did he start shooting after he entered the room?
He just started shooting right away. There was no hesitation.
Senior Joseph Aduro.
So he started shooting right away. There was no hesitation. 5 rounds. He locked eyes with this guy. For some reason, didn't feel the need to shoot him. Blasted that conservative girl in the face. Where is the large gun? Good question. Was it a shotgun? Was it a rifle? I don't know. First day I heard pistol. That he did it with a pistol. And the only thing I can think of for 5 shots, maybe a shotgun? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But it doesn't seem like your typical active shooter situation. At all. At all. And when you're in a packed, crowded auditorium and you shoot 5 shots, 2 people die and 9 get wounded, ricochets, things like that, all of that crap matters. He was walking just like the Charlie Kirk shooter was walking. He had it under his clothes, likely. And that's multiple hours before the attack if he ended up having it under his clothes. I don't know about that one, man. I honestly don't. What I do know is that it is highly, in my opinion, improbable that he had gone into that university to conduct a mass shooter attack. It feels like he just shot, wreaked havoc, and then left. And I'm a little bit upset that the media hasn't shared those details that have gone over there and talked to these students. It's like, does Matt need to get his butt on the ground and just go actually ask these people what the hell happened and what was going on? Possibly sawed off? Yeah. I could see that. You know what I mean? Like just having a sawed off shotgun underneath your big old jacket going in there. It's wintertime. It's definitely feasible. It's definitely doable. But to me, it sounds like double out buck. Well, double out buck at those close ranges, it doesn't really open up until frickin', what is it? Like 9-10 feet out, maybe most of the time out of a full length barrel. But if it was a sawed off and he was shooting double out buck, each one of those is just basically a little 9mm round. And that would account for a lot more wounded with 5 shots, even if he blasted somebody in the head. So a short shotgun, he goes in, he pops 5 people. They didn't, and this is what's killing me about these witness interviews that they're doing. They're not pulling good, solid information out of them that just kind of makes sense. They're really not. Somebody says 30 feet, but yeah, you get like a tiny spread on him at 8 to 10 feet. But I mean, it's essentially a massive slug until you start pushing distance. But either way, those are going blasting right through whoever they hit. And then you've got these little 9mm rounds that are just bouncing around everywhere, for lack of better terms. Abby says, main difference versus Kirk, the weapon at Brown was confirmed as a 9mm. Right. So that's what I heard. And then I turn around and I hear this guy saying it's a massive gun. So was he using a freaking PCC, like a pistol caliber carbine? You know what I mean? Like that's the only way I could see it being described as a massive gun, as if it's a pistol caliber carbine. But then I would expect a lot more people to be shot. And he said 5 shots. Like, that's very specific. He wasn't like, dude, it was like a mag and it lasted for like 2 minutes. Like, you think about how everybody else ends up saying it. Like, it wasn't there. It wasn't. And then we've got the incident over at Bondi Beach, and everybody's screaming like, how the hell did this happen? People are trying to claim that it wasn't the Jews that were shot, and that it was, it was everybody was getting killed that day. And that's just flagrant lie. I did an entire stream on it this morning, showed you the distance. There was a Hanukkah celebration that was taking place on one specific portion of the lawn. They ended up going to that particular portion of the lawn. They ended up shooting like only in that one direction. You had a guy that was just backing out the video. You guys want me to replay that video of that guy? I mean, I can. Yeah, I can replay the video of that guy's statement. The big gun statement, or what? I mean, or the 5-shot portion. Yeah, you can hear the 5-shot portion.
We were hanging out in a classroom studying, and then we just heard like 5 shots ring out, and we didn't really know what it was at first. And then some kids, we like got out of our seats when we heard a stampede run by, and then some kids went to check the hallway and no one was there. So we ran outside, and then a kid who had also checked, he went the other way. He came out, he said he saw someone lying on the floor. So at that point we just looked at each other and just ran as fast as we could.
In that moment where you heard the gunfire, what did you think it was?
I thought we were in an engineering building, so I thought something fell or something. I didn't think it was gunfire. We were hanging out in a...
All right, you guys said the guy walking? Yeah, we can play the guy walking too. Let's go back to that first video of him walking. Let me get that up on the screen. Let's see if he does the Putin arm thing. Let's see if he does the Putin FSB arm thing. I think he's just fat and awkward. I mean, they're moving, man. They're moving. I mean, I guess I could kind of see it, what you guys are talking about. I can kind of see it, and then he scratches his balls, it looks like, and then puts his hands behind his back. I don't know about it, man. I don't know. My thought is this is somebody that works there at the college. Like, if you want to know what my thought is on this, is it's somebody that works at the college. 9mm Keltec sub 2000, I bet, was used. I mean, Keltec, geez. Do better. Christopher says, someone in the chat said Keltec sub 2000. I messed with one, and I can see that. Okay, well, I mean, Matt, I never saw a pew-pew. He might think a 9mm. Yeah, that's also true. He might think just a regular 9mm pistol is big. But either way, between a Keltec or a Glock or any other 9mm pistol, why only 5 rounds? Like, that is so not typical. You generally speaking don't just see 5 rounds in there. So, again, my thought is he went in there with a specific target in mind. The fact that they can't find anybody, to me, says that maybe it's a person that's on the campus that they suspect to see all the time. I don't know. That whole thing doesn't make sense to me, though, when it goes into it. And so I think it's somebody that works there. I think it's somebody that works there that is not a fan of that young lady's ideology. And unfortunately, you had other innocent bystanders that ended up falling into it. So that's my thought. If you guys didn't watch the video that I did on what took place over inside of Bondi Beach, like go check it out from this morning. And forgive me because I call it Bondi Beach because I'm American and I speak English. I don't have weird words like selly and sledgy and whatever the hell else the Aussies say, but. Yeah, so this is Bondi Beach, and this is a couple of weeks ago. I mean, you're talking like a month ago. So not only do you have that stuff taking place over there, but you've got all sorts of other like messed up crap over inside that area. Let me pull up this first video. This imam was preaching just a couple miles away from that shooting. Wyatt Gilliam says only 5 heard in populated building sounds targeted. Yeah, thank you.
We can't take away from the fact, first and foremost, that jihad is definitely part of our deen. And as Muslims, we should never ever shy away from this. And yes, there may be types of jihad, but of the peak of this jihad is that which the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam spoke about, and I'll read the hadith soon. And that is fighting in the path of Allah Azza wa Jal. A physical fight, not the fighting of the nafs.
You guys get the idea? I don't think I have to play anymore. I mean, it's a 2.5-minute video, but I think we all know that he's going to go speak like some crazy stuff. And you guys are just going to be like, why the hell is this being allowed inside of the United States of America? I agree with you. But that's not the United States. That's Australia, right? But it's still, does happen over here. And I played those videos for you guys. But this is Australia. And these are young schoolgirls being taught about Sharia law.
Following the laws of Islam, can he coincide with people from different faiths? The answer is very obvious. Have we been living with people from different faiths for the last 1400 years? Yes. That's the answer. A part of Islamic Sharia is that if you go to a foreign land that basically is not a Muslim land, you abide by the laws, as long as they don't force you to give up your faith.
No Muslim is out there lobbying for Australia to adopt Sharia law, because there are Muslims living in Australia who live by Sharia. And
do I need to play any more of that? You have young girls that are being taught Sharia.
And there's nothing in Australian law which stops us from following our fundamentally important religious aspects. And there's nothing in Sharia which forces us to break Australian law.
People that have shallow knowledge of not only Islam but about world religions, they have used this one word to create fear amongst people. And then, sadly to say, there are many Muslims, they use this word incorrectly as well. Now keep in mind there's 1.6 billion Muslims in the world. So you're going to find a few people that are nonsensible.
All right. You're going to find some nonsensible people. Frickin' jihadists, you're going to find terrorists. And where do they get their ideology from? Maybe from the Quran. I'm just throwing it out there. All right. Ramblin' Ryan coming in, gifting out 5 Speak the Truth memberships, and Super Zane becoming a true supporter along with Ramblin' Ryan. Ramblin' Ryan, man, I haven't seen you in here in a while, man. It's good to have you back, friend. Thank you. Thank you for blessing us with your presence. Now, I showed you what was taking place on the beach over there, and it is confirmed that this man, let me get this up here. Stop it. That this man and his son, right? It is that man and his son. Man ended up immigrating over. Son, whatever, ends up becoming an Aussie. And they're saying that this is what people in Australia are saying, that the kid was radicalized at the local mosque. They're both ISIS fighters, and that they had ISIS flags and stuff in their vehicle, by the way. Like that's a real thing. But the dad was radicalized before he came over. And so are you essentially looking at a sleeper cell? Maybe not. But the dad had also, according to reports, had just quit his job a little bit ago. It said that he wanted to be remembered for numerous things. And now we've got a bunch of dead Jews. And it's not a joke when I say a bunch of dead Jews. Like they killed a bunch of Jews, right? That is just a fact. Like the overwhelming majority dead Jews, right? Overwhelming wounded Jews, right? And they had, if I pull up the beach, they had a Hanukkah celebration that was going on while the beach may have been big, but over in that tiny little park region where all those videos came out of, where they were standing there shooting, that was their target. That's what they were doing. They say they do it every year. Andreas Northrum says it looks like he was looking for a potential wife. He's looking for his potential virgins is what he's doing, right? Like that's what he's doing. Like, yeah. Oh, you mean the little girls? Oh, not these guys. Oh, you're talking about the little girls in there. Yeah. I see what you did there. That's a unfortunately not a funny joke. Man, accurate, not gonna lie, accurate, but I don't even want to laugh.
Attack on Australia's famed Bondi Beach. Police now say at least 15 people were shot and killed at a celebration of the first night of Hanukkah. The suspected gunman, identified as a father and son. NBC's Sarah James is in Sydney for us. Sarah, good morning.
Good morning, Craig. Well, Australia's Prime Minister is saying there's no evidence of any wider collusion. The pair motivated by extremist ideology, carrying out a terrifying attack that has shattered this community. Australia's Jewish community in mourning and the nation in shock after a seaside celebration of the Festival of Light became one of the darkest days in Australian history. Two gunmen opened fire on a peaceful Hanukkah gathering. The Australian Broadcasting Corporation says police identified the gunman as Sajid Akram, who died at the scene, and his 24-year-old son Naveed, who remains in custody at the hospital. Authorities saying the younger man's name had come up in a previous investigation in 2019.
But they're not going to arrest him. They're just, going to investigate him. So Fox McCloud says the Christians' nonsensical and irrational fear of being subjugated by Islam is racist. No, I mean, it's quite literally written down. I mean, that's what they believe, right? It is, right? You're either going to end up paying a jizya or they're going to end up demanding that you convert. And if you don't want to do either of those, then off with your head. I mean, that's just how it's written. It's not me, man. It's not my religion. I'm just telling you what it says. Yeah. I'm just telling you what it says, man. Good to see you. I already forgot your name, man. But he's saying you haven't checked in since the Portland protest, and now you're back. Well, welcome back, and thanks for checking in with the last couple streams, friend. Super Zane 88 becoming a true supporter. Ramlin Ryan gifting out 5 memberships. Saw that you guys were having problems with donations. Man, it's okay. It's okay. I love you guys anyways. I really do. Here are just 9 of the victims that are up here on the screen. As you can see, like several of them are Jewish. Names have been released. And I heard the death toll ended up rising up over to 9 total, not German 9, but 9 total.
So we mourn the loss of 3 great patriots in Syria. You know how it happened. There was an ambush, terrible. We also have 3 wounded. They seem to be doing pretty well. But we mourn the loss. These are 3 great people. And it's just a terrible thing. Syria, by the way, was fighting along with us. The new president of Syria is, as they told me, and I'm not surprised, he's devastated by what happened. This was an ISIS attack on us and Syria. And again, we mourn the loss and we pray for them and their parents and their loved ones. Very, very sad.
Now, here's what I'm going to say about the Syrian attack. There is lots of photos circulating online that show Al-Jawlani standing with the man supposedly that conducted the suicide bombing. And allegedly they had approached the Syrian government and asked, why did this man exist? Why was he still there? And they said, oh, we were going to fire him, but it happened on a Saturday. So our troops are already fighting along beside them. And I have a major issue with that. In my opinion, this is likely a green on blue incident, even though I don't think we should be partnered with them, but we are. William Jones says, have you heard more about their planned riots over the shooting? No, not yet. I haven't, but I am tracking and have been told several times that people are worried about active shooter attacks that are supposed to be going down during this time frame. So I haven't heard any more about the writing though. Fox McCloud says you were being sarcastic. I am well aware, sir. I am. Touche. I figured it out, but it's freaking sad, man. It's sad that it happened, and we shouldn't have, in my opinion, people inside of that country working along beside them at all, like at all. Want to play this clip for you guys.
Become a normal occurrence, not just in the United States, but now seeing it in Australia, who's worked really hard to create gun prevention laws to prevent the kind of tragedy that took place today.
Alien is pushing for gun control laws. Can't make that crap up. Praising them for stepping up so quickly for going over and having gun control laws. And it drives me freaking nuts that is even the case. But I want to show you guys something. Hold on. Because Ilhan Omar, her butt's not out of hot water. And I brought this up the other day. Some of you guys might actually know about this, but maybe you don't. I saw it. I thought it was pretty cool. I like it when stuff like this happens. I about crap myself when I heard it.
For all of us, which is about Ilhan Omar. It starts bad, but then it gets good. She married her brother, allegedly, so that he could get into the country and be here, like an immigration matter. Trump keeps saying that she married her brother so she could get in. That's not it. She was already in. She was brought in by her dad when she was young, under 18. But she did reportedly, allegedly, marry her own brother so that he could come into the country, and then divorced him and got remarried to her own ex-husband, I think is how it went, because this is all a fraud to get her brother here. Legal Insurrection, which is a great website, tells me the statute of limitations has run on that claim, that immigration fraud claim with the brother, if indeed it happened. However, because Tom Homan was on Fox saying that they're looking into this brother thing with Ilhan Omar. That's the best news we've heard. I'm thrilled that DHS is actually looking into it. So if the statute of limitations has run on the brother situation, still it should be exposed and documented. There is the possibility that she's still in trouble because now they think, okay, let me just read the following. And they're citing this Matt Tardio on X. Ilhan Omar claims that she obtained her citizenship when her father was naturalized in 2000, just months before her 18th birthday. But there's a problem. No record has been found of his naturalization paperwork. In response to a FOIA request for her father's N-400 paperwork filed by A.J. Kern in June of 2023, the National Records Center was unable to locate any filings under his name. Question, can she be denaturalized and deported if this is substantiated? Answer, yes. If fraud was involved in her father's alleged naturalization, then her citizenship could be on the chopping block because that would be immigration fraud by the dad. That would affect her, and that would be a political earthquake, Dave Smith. That if she's not a U.S. citizen, she can't be a U.S. House member. And
I never once thought growing up listening to Megyn Kelly reporting that my name would have ever came out of her mouth. Like, I continue to be humbled on a daily basis. I about crap myself when I heard that. I was driving back from Texas, just listening to random clips and stuff yesterday, and I was like, did she just say my name like that? Somebody, her producers got my research. Like, so I'm extremely humbled by that. Very, very, very cool, and very humbling to be able to get that. But let's go over and take a look at the madness in Minneapolis, because that hasn't seemed to calm down yet.
meesha waxaa ka dhacay dagaal oo isu dhaxeeya ISIS iyo dadka kale. Yes, he's dragging.
I can't believe that. Like, one, we have so much wild stuff going on, that this didn't even come remotely close to making the spotlight today. Not even remotely close. Not even. Yeah. It's so bad. DHS actually put in a call to the sheriff's office for assistance.
Yes, we need assistance immediately. This is a Homeland Security. I got officers getting attacked.
Okay, where?
On West 29th and Pillsbury. I got forwarded in Minneapolis, and they're not answering their phone.
29th.
It's right down the street from Chicago Lake Liquors. Yep. West 29th and Pillsbury Avenue. They're surrounded, and they're being attacked.
How many is it, like? Okay.
We only have a few officers, but we have, what did they say, 60 to 70 agitators that are fighting them. They're not answering their phone now, so I don't know if they got knocked out or what, but we need help.
Okay, and who's calling?
supervisor with Department of Homeland Security. I'm in the Joint Operation Control Center, the JOC here for this operation.
Okay.
Like, that's nuts, man. That is absolutely wild. Like, they have gotten so freaking out of control that they've got to call in the freaking local sheriff's department. And again, we have so much crap going on inside of our country right now because the law is being enforced, terrorists are being arrested, all that crap's going on, that DHS being surrounded, knocked out, not answering their phones, any of that crap, that they got to call in the local sheriff's department. I haven't even seen a damn story on this yet. This is wild to me. This is absolutely wild. It's wild at that point. Whew. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, the freaking world has gotten crazy. The world's gone mad. Don't take it any less. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I need to sign off. I love you guys. I really do. And I really enjoyed tonight. And I really appreciate you guys all coming in. I appreciate you guys putting me in the spot that I am today. It's absolutely amazing. And I'm going to leave you guys on, after my peace, love, happiness, and God bless. But I want to remind you why Ilhan Omar is a raging pile of garbage. Back in 2016, you ended up having several people that ended up getting arrested and charged federally for not just joining ISIS, but also for, helping people, having contacts overseas with ISIS, smuggling people into Syria to go fight and cut heads off and do all of that stuff. And this woman felt like pleading to the judge to take it easy on these bastards.
Election night was just 2 days ago, but it seems Minnesota Representative-elect Ilhan Omar may have already made her first move as an elected official. In a letter signed November 8th, Omar asks a U.S. district judge for compassion when sentencing 9 Minnesota Somali American men convicted of trying to join the terrorist group ISIS. She says the best deterrent to fanaticism is a system of compassion. We must alter our attitude and approach if we truly want to affect change. We should refocus our efforts on inclusion and rehabilitation. But she's not the only one. 13 letters, including one from the Dean of Students at Minneapolis Public Schools, were also sent to the judge asking for leniency. Osman Sheikh Yusuf says, I truly am honored to call Abdi Rahman my friend, and I hope that good things happen to this wonderful young man who totally deserves a second chance in life. But those letters and defense attorneys' request for a lighter